All right, guys, what is up? And welcome back to another video, another Shopify store review this week, of course. My name's Brendan. If you don't know me from previous videos, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't matter. We're just here to look at the Shopify store and see what improvements we can make, what we like about it, and what we could change to get more conversions. Now, this is an interesting company, DEFY Sports Drinks, and they're made from hemp or CBD extract, I believe, which is a big trend in performance right now. So let's just start on the homepage. Now, first impressions are just really, really cool. This site is extremely clean, extremely innovative in design, and of course, you've got these interactive elements that move as you hover over them, like the buy now button, the social buttons, and then you'll notice this video background. And then, of course, we've got a nice headline here: hemp extract to fuel your essential self. Beautiful product image, some benefits here going down, and then another headline and another call to action. So in the article I wrote that accompanies this video, I wrote about how multiple headlines and multiple calls to action throughout your site are really good as long as they lead to the same place, essentially. So this could be used as a landing page if you're trying to target people with Facebook ads. You can make a really cool ad creative and then send them here. And it looks like there's enough information to warrant some conversions from the homepage, which is what you want. So let's go further down and see what else we've got here. We've got the second call to action that's also interactive. And then we have some credibility factors here. So featured in the press. Now, I always say if you are lucky enough to be featured enough in a news outlet or even a popular website or a blog, and people have spoken about your product or your brand, put that on your site and show them, because it's going to add to your trust and credibility as a brand. So Forbes here, this is obviously a big name, and a couple others. So definitely for credibility, you want to always feature them wherever you can on your site. And then, as you can see when we scroll down here, this background is sliding across as we scroll down. Little neat CSS trick, and these sticky buttons follow you as you go down to make it really easy to share the brand and the website with your friends on social platforms. And then here we have this animated brain and this animated muscle fiber, so people can visualize the benefits of the product. So when we're talking about benefits, it's really good to find a way to help people visualize it rather than just a big wall of text. So this site is very visual. It's mostly about the graphics and the animations, and then you've just got a small little excerpt about the benefits. You don't need to overdo it. If you can say something with an image, it's always better to do that. And then you come down, there's an email sign up and just a couple of links for the footer that give you more information about hemp and their products. Now, just to touch on the actual design itself, obviously it's extremely impressive. There's a lot of advanced coding that's gone into this. But the real question is, do you need a design like this to make a ton of money and to have a really high conversion rate? And the answer is no. And honestly, I wrote this in the article. Check out the link in the description if you want to read it. But personally, from experience, I find this to be too overwhelming. So when it comes to e-commerce and selling a product, you want to make everything as simple as possible, and you want to make it or avoid any sort of confusion. And I just find this to be a bit overwhelming. Everywhere you go, there's stuff moving. It's really active, and it's just really it's a lot to take in, like as a sensory experience. So I mean, I run my own e-commerce site, and I like to keep things simple, and I've got a really great conversion rate. And most of the really well-performing e-commerce websites with Shopify or any other platform, there's honestly simple. The simpler the better, because you've got to remember you're trying to get someone to take an action on your website, and when they're confused in any way, a confused mind never ever converts. So you got to keep that in mind, guys. Now, what they have done really well is they've done made great use of headlines and great use of benefits and conveying those benefits in images. Like this, for example, I really like this. Now, this doesn't actually have to move. I would prefer if this is just a static image. And the other thing they've done really well is these credibility badges for trust and being featured in other news outlets in the press and stuff. So that is the main areas where they're excelling in. Now, if we go through to the product page, we'll just have a look. And in the meantime, I actually just want to go back, and I'll do this in real time so you guys can see. I'm going to copy this and then check the page speed, because I can imagine that the page load speed is going to be a little bit low, but we'll see. So I'll let this run in the background. Drinkify.com. Pagespeed Insights, for anyone who wants to check their page speed, you got to make sure your site loads super quick, because if people have to wait for more than 3 or 4 seconds, they're going to bounce and they're going to bail away. Okay, now here we've got the collection page. It's only 3 products, and you can also get the bundle. And again, the design is stunning. Don't get me wrong; it's nothing short of amazing. But let's see if the product page is as confusing. Okay, now this is what I like to see. This is really, really great. A little bit pricey, but that's a different story. The design, of course, is in line with the actual homepage. The branding is really congruent. The color scheme is great, and we don't have much here. We've just got bullet points of the main features, and then we've got a little bit about the drink, and then we have a choice of 12-pack, 6-pack, subscribe and save. So it's another way to make more money, consistent income through a subscription service if you're offering something like this. And then we've got the add to cart button, which is also interactive. A little bit of CSS there, and then we've got the other related products, and that's essentially it, guys. Now, I'm really happy that this product page isn't as overwhelming as the homepage. Otherwise, I just I wouldn't agree with it as a as a good design option or a good tactic to get conversions. Now, this in itself is perfect, it's fine, but the only thing I would say is missing is social proof. Now, we need some kind of reviews, we need some kind of testimonials, because if you're paying $41, you want to hear from other people, if the product is good or not, if it's delicious, if they've really benefited from it in terms of their workouts, because this is a performance drink and you're promising real performance benefits with it. Now, I could go to Google and check, but the problem with that is when you make someone navigate away from your website, they might never come back. So even if they got to navigate away to check a review, you don't want them to do that. You want them to find all the information on the product page itself and on your website, so they do not have to navigate away. Now, I just want to check the page speed insights. Now, the mobile experience for this site is quite low, 25%, so 100 being the highest, obviously. We're in the lower end of the spectrum here, 0 to 49. And desktop, 73. That's not so bad. So if you guys are interested, if you actually check the speed of your site here, it'll give you a ranking, and then it'll also give you some advice to speed that up, some things you can work on. So there you go, 25% for mobile. And you got to remember, always optimize for mobile. 60% of all internet traffic is coming from mobile now. So that should be your first priority. But either way, let's go back to the product page. 2 things I would like to see here are product reviews. And I would also like to see this add to cart button stand out a little bit more to make it easier to recognize, because right now it's just a bordered box. It does turn yellow when you hover over it, but only when you hover over it. So I would actually like to see them use either a bright yellow button here, or even a completely different color, like maybe a red or a different shade of yellow. I always say that your call to action should be a completely different color, isolated, and only use that color once in your website for the call to action. So it's the isolation effect. When you do that, people can't help but be drawn to it. Their eyes are drawn to it immediately. It's like one green tomato and a bunch of red tomatoes. Your eye is automatically drawn to it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I just wanted to go over this site with you, because this is an example of a site that is extremely well designed, but probably not the most optimal site for conversion wise. And it's really hard to not follow your own kind of like grandeur ideas of design when you're building a website, because everyone wants a store that looks sick, that looks really cool, and that looks really impressive. But 9 times out of 10, they're not what converts best. So when it comes to getting e-commerce conversions, you want people to feel like they're looking at something familiar that makes them feel comfortable. And the biggest thing that makes people feel comfortable in terms of design is just plain white backgrounds. And that's just because they're familiar with them. When you're on Amazon or eBay, the background is white. And it's always white pretty much across the board in any successful e-commerce site. Now, obviously, this one is black because they're going for a unique color palette here with the black and the yellow. So yeah, that's the only suggestions I have to make. Like I said, guys, really good use of headlines and benefits, and the imagery is really strong, and the credibility. It's good to see this, but personally, I think the homepage is overwhelming. But aside from that, that's really it. So guys, when you're making your own store, just focus on simplicity. Make it as easy to purchase as possible. Make the design simple, make it clean, make it beautiful, and allow the prospect or the visitor to find what they're looking for without any confusion. So you want to take them by the hand and lead them down the funnel to the transaction, or the promised land, as I like to call it, which is the sale. So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments if you have any comments about it. Check out the website because it is really cool. And yeah, remember to keep it simple. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content. And if you want us to review your Shopify store and see the areas that we suggest you improve, you can leave a comment, or you can send us an inbox, or you can head to pagefly.io, send us an email. And that's it. Best of luck, guys. See you in the next video.